Afternoon, everybody. Now, continuing with the First World War, we discussed how things were going at the end of 1914. We discussed the Christmas truce, but pretty much where everything was there's an effectual stalemate on the Western Front. There's been trenches from the border of Switzerland all the way to the sea, and neither side can make progress. They decided the futile mess of the trench warfare. No one's making progress. Everyone's losing men. And so the British were thinking, how can we solve this problem? And the idea was brought forward by a young man who was given the title of the First Lord of the Admiralty, whose name was Winston Churchill. He had an idea, with others that were with him, to attack the Dardanelles area in the area of Turkey in the Ottoman Empire. And they figured that would fall easily, and then they'd be able to move on to Istanbul. Istanbul would fall easily to British superior power, and not only would the Ottoman Empire be knocked out of the war, it would open up the seaway for the British and French to easily supply the Russian allies through the Black Sea. So that was the plan there. But the thing is, they didn't have many men to give out of the Western Front to this Gallipoli campaign. The British didn't really have any. They were all occupied in the Western Front, and the French, they were more concerned about getting the Germans out of their country. So with great reluctance, the French actually did send some men as well. But what became the bulk of the army was an untested group of soldiers from the British Empire who were training in Egypt. They were from Australia and New Zealand. They were given the name Anzac. And these men would be sent to attack this area. The island would be called Gallipoli. And it's on the Gallipoli Peninsula. And so in February of 1915, they began the campaign, and it started out with heavy shelling of the coastal lines from the Royal Navy and the French Navy as well. And it was believed and actually taught to the Empire soldiers that the Turks were an inferior enemy, we're superior, they're going to fall easily to us just with our might. You shoot a few of them, the rest will scatter like birds. And they were proved quite wrong in this situation, because the Turks were going to be defending their homeland. That was a major factor in that. So they begin this campaign, and they send the men out attacking on 5 different parts of this peninsula. And the men are being lowered in boats from the ship. They're doing rowboats out to this area of the shoreline. The Turkish machine guns open up. Imagine the Normandy invasion of 1944, but they don't have those very strong shielded metal boats to protect the soldiers. They had wooden rowboats. The men were getting massacred left and right. That was just the beginning of the invasion, and the battle would become the Battle of Gallipoli, which would take place over the next 9 months. More on that to come.